This is a show where we talk about our favorite characters in media, so this may be full of spoilers throughout the entire episode. We apologize if that's not quite your thing, but we do hope that you enjoy anyway. Hello, and welcome to Powered Casual Presents 5 Hit Lists. This week, we are going to be doing video game soundtracks, OSTs in particular, original soundtracks, so no compilations or jukebox games, that sort of situation. No rhythm games. As I was told that rhythm games would be great, but at the same time, they're not for this sort of thing.
What about if a rhythm game had all original music?
See, that's the catch. Like there are a fair number of songs that I play when I'm able to go to round one and I just go straight for Drum Mania, and like half of the songs that I can S rank are originals just for that game series, and you can't really get them anywhere else. But then I also play like all the anime opening themes that I know. So
yeah, if you can figure out where they are.
Yeah.
But that's what I do every time.
Oh yeah. But like that ska song that none of us can ace, I think that's got to be an original song, just to screw with people. Anyway, but
you don't listen to ska on your own time?
I mean,
I do.
I have. I've looked it up. But to introduce our panel this week, I'm Ian. You all know me. Next to me, this side, is Sean from our Monday night Dungeons & Dragons game, Hellscape Navigators. Also, he's been on every episode of this show so far, 3 for 3.
Till I get fired.
Yep. Below me, we have Brian, also from our Monday night Hellscape Navigators game, also co-originator of this overall concept of a show.
100% participation.
Oh, special guest Ben and Jerry.
Yep. Like not to put anybody above anybody else in the hierarchy of guests on this show, but that's pretty hard to beat, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But our actual guest this time is our good friend Mick, of PortCon, Bull Moose, Magic, like My Little Pony, like many things. You're actually probably the most internet famous.
That's true.
I think that is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tilt my head and show the fursuit head.
Oh yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
There's Pixel.
There.
Yeah, Mick has gone internet famous for many more things than all the rest of us combined.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it's gotten me lots of acclaim and money and wait, no, not either of those things.
Oh.
That's fine. It's fine.
E-points.
So you want to send Mick some Bitcoin?
Yeah, Bitcoin is accepted.
I also accept Ethereum, Dogecoin, Sheepcoin.
Yep.
So,
sweet.
Do also want to point out, now that we've sort of got one of the original gangs all here, when we started doing this at PAXs and Anime Bostons and what have you, Brian and Mick were the two who sort of spearheaded this entire endeavor, making lists around dinner tables and such. So we have these two to thank and or blame for every single part of what we're going to do tonight.
Blame the hell out of us. It's fine.
So, video game soundtracks. We've done video game villains and we've done video game heroes so far, so we decided to switch away from characters briefly. Other order. I know.
We did villains and what?
Protagonists.
Protagonists, yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
okay.
I wasn't even here. I knew that.
Even the host, who changed it by his own volition, can't even remember what he did.
It's okay.
Look. I mean,
I didn't want to bring it up. it came up organically.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
All right, what were we talking about?
I don't remember anymore.
What's the name of this one, Ian?
See, I will put this out here. I did put video game soundtracks on most of the graphics because OST just sort of fits weird. But the ST of OST is soundtrack, so I don't think I'm too in the wrong on that one.
No, we all came to an understanding of what we were doing,
Yep.
and as far as we know, so far it hasn't been changed, so we're good.
Yeah. So, but I'm just waiting to see which of us is gonna violate a rule that we either expressly talked about or didn't talk about, but now we're all mad about.
Me. I promise. It's me.
All right. So, well, who would we like to? Who wants to start? Who wants to give their number 5 first?
So, well, do we want to start with Mick doing the number 1?
What?
What?
Why would I start at number 1?
No, I'm sorry. When we get to the number 1 round, do we want Mick to go first since Mick is our guest?
Oh, I see. Okay. I think that would be fine. Now,
So
someone
in that
other
case-
than me do that math to work
So it'd
backward.
be backwards, so it'd be 2, 3, 4, 5 honorable mention. So I'd go first.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. My number 5 is a very weak entry because I had a very tough time with this list.
Okay.
But this is one of the few games that I will just sit there and play and vibe to the music with, and that is Civilization 6.
See.
Not even the one with Baba Yetu on it?
No. It's just very calming, nice music, and it allows me to pay attention to all the different storyline stuff that's happening and diplomatic stuff, and it's nice. You just sit in a recliner, chill back, and play, and it's such a nice calming experience. So that is admittedly a rather weak entry, but I was having trouble finding a number 5, so that is where I start.
I don't know if I would call that weak. I mean, I'm biased. I love the Civilization series, and I've put more time into Civ 6 than any other game I own on Steam of that since its release. So I feel you. And the music is actually really good and really deep. And it is definitely got what you said going for it. You don't forget that the music's there. It doesn't, fly under your radar, but you definitely don't want to just mute the music entirely.
Right. It doesn't ever get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that stands strong as a pick. If you don't want to mute it, it's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
The bar is pretty low if it's the best video game soundtracks are the one you don't want to mute.
Yeah. I could just listen to Spotify over this, but I can't.
No, I think that's it. I mean, if any of the games on this list are actually a game that we have all regularly done that exact thing and literally listened to anything else but the video game music, I think it shouldn't be on the list.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll get
That's
there
fair.
when we get there. But no, I listen to the Civ 6 music when I play, so.
Okay, cool.
I
So
think
it's
that
not as
checks
weak
out.
as I thought. Good.
Yeah.
Not at all.
All right. So is that Mick, number 5?
Oh right, yeah, because we're going clockwise order here. Sure. Yeah, so my number 5 is Celeste. I'm no beating around the bush. I'm just gonna say it, Celeste. It was a tough choice, determining which indie game from the last couple of years about undergoing a personal journey of self-acceptance and growth. And the choice was between Celeste and Sayonara Wild Hearts. And it was Celeste because it was the one I played first. But it's just really good. It's composed by Lena Raine, who used to do work on Guild Wars and also has her own solo work as an ambient artist. And it just creates a very pleasant soundscape. And the way that the level design builds, the the soundtrack builds as well. So the earlier levels are a little calmer, and then they get more action oriented as the game goes on. So it's a very, very well thought out album, a very, very well thought out game. So yeah, Celeste is very good, and Lena Raine is a very talented composer, and the game once won the Games for Impact Award at the Game Awards because, again, the storyline is about a journey of self-acceptance. And not for nothing, but basically everybody who made the game is trans, so.
Counts.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I gotta play that. I was my sister Melanie was telling me about it, and man, I gotta play this game real bad.
It's good. It's like a high octane platformer, kind of like Super Meat Boy or Katana Zero. So I think you would like it.
I do like some platformings.
All right.
Oh, I guess I also should have mentioned that I made a prediction on a card about what franchise other than Final Fantasy or Zelda will have the most entries between the four of us, and I have not modified it yet. So we'll see how right I was at the end.
Okay.
Wrote it on the back of a Magic card, so that is ironclad at this point.
Yep.
All right, Brian, what is your number 5?
My number 5, when we first decided this category, naturally this game came to the top of the list, and then I moved it around a lot. But it's Chrono Trigger. Spoiler alert: Chrono Trigger is like my favorite game of all time.
Now we can't do that list.
Yep.
Well, just forget I said this. But yeah, it's mostly composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, and then while he was like writing music for it, he kind of had like a breakdown because it was very stressful. And then Nobuo Uematsu from the Final Fantasy series kind of finished off some of the songs. But it's a great soundtrack to a fantastic game. Like you can definitely just rock out to a few of the tunes or just vibe out to a few of the tunes. Yeah, it's awesome. And if you haven't played the game, do it.
Let's
Ian, there's a lot of pressure here to pick a game that starts with the letter C.
Yeah, there sure is. And I'm honestly
historically he hacks it up. So
yeah. Somebody here is gonna have to be a combo breaker. I guess it's gonna have to be
combo breaker.
Me. But I do notice so Chrono Trigger. I don't think. I mean, it was on your protagonist list. You didn't have villain from Chrono Trigger though, right?
I did as an honorable mention, but not on my 5.
Okay. So I was gonna say I thought Chrono Trigger. I couldn't remember if Chrono Trigger has made an appearance 3 for 3 so far.
It has, right? So far it has. I dare you to try and get it not on. It's my Darth Vader. If you've seen the pilot episode of this, I'm gonna find a way. It'll be in every list.
All right. So my number 5. All right, I'll come out and say this right now. None of my games start with C. So I apologize in that regard. Though, of the games that I did choose, this does have a C in it.
I know what game it is.
Oh, do you?
Yep.
Do you? Okay.
I'm gonna write it down.
Okay.
Write
it down right now. And we're gonna see.
And hold it up and flip it when he says it.
Okay.
All right. So my number 5 is Sonic the Hedgehog.
I was wrong. This is what I said.
StarCraft. Okay. Yeah. No, that very good guess. I do love me some StarCraft. but no, Sonic the Hedgehog, the original one, is definitely my number 5. That was one of the games that's similar to Chrono Trigger. Was it was gonna be on the list, just a matter of where. But it's one of those games where like you remember like Green Hill Zone, the chemical plants, just the Robotnik boss music, like it just sticks in my head, and it's on like every video game music playlist I've ever made, and it's just still so good. Like there's a lot of great video game music from the 18 and 16-bit era that still stands up without being like remixed or reorchestrated or anything like that. But I think the Sonic music is some of the best that just stands up in its original form to this day.
I didn't even own a Sega Genesis. And growing up in the 90s, we were a Nintendo family. But, like, once you said Sonic the Hedgehog, like 3 different Sonic songs popped in my head. So I think that says a lot about the soundtrack.
Chemical Plant.
Chemical Plant's so
2.
good, yeah.
Chemical Plant's great, yeah.
Like, and we did decide early on, and Sonic was one of the reasons why I had to ask. We did say when we were making the rules for this episode, we couldn't just pick a franchise. Now the Sonic music, especially Sonic 1 and 2, where they're the same composer, they're very similar. And then Sonic and Knuckles is also slaps.
It's that blast processing from the Sega Genesis is what it is.
It's so good.
It's great. So I go now, right? It rotates to me to start 4.
Yeah, so number 4 goes to Mick.
Yeah, so the reason I predicted StarCraft was because StarCraft is my number 4. Also, I was metagaming because I remember when we were talking about favorite video game songs of all time, Ian's number 2 was Terran 1. When we first discussed this at PAX 2018. So I was using the knowledge I already gained. Anyway, StarCraft is really, really good.
That is incredible. It's and also correct.
And also, yeah. Because I remember discounting the StarCraft soundtrack at that point, and then when Ian said that, I was like, wait, damn, yeah, you're right. It's very, very good. So StarCraft is a very, very well composed soundtrack. I listen to it at work quite a bit. And also, I think it's really interesting that the composers for StarCraft went on to do all of the music and sound design for Forensic Files. So if you've ever, listen to the Forensic Files theme and you will know immediately what I'm talking about. But a lot of the sound cues in Forensic Files are taken directly from StarCraft. Like there's mission alerts in various episodes. And did you put it on just now?
No, but I'm gonna have to.
You're gonna have to. So yeah, StarCraft is great. Blizzard really does a lot of great music for their games, but StarCraft is my favorite.
Yeah, no, Terran 1 is still up. If we ever do favorite songs, spoiler alert, Terran 1's probably gonna be up there. I will say
I think your number 1 was Green Hill Zone. It was definitely on your list. I can't remember if it was 3 or 1.
Green Hill Zone was also very high up.
I think it was 3.
I think my only problem with the StarCraft soundtrack, and the reason why it wasn't on my list so far, was that it is, like, I can remember all the Terran songs, no problem. Can't remember any of the Zerg songs off the top of my head.
The Zerg songs are cool, in my opinion. They have all the, like, creepy crawly type effects. I should really turn my light on. It's getting kind of dark in here. I was just, like, looking at my webcam and being like, it's not right. Yeah, how you feel about experimental music and noise informs how much you remember the Zerg themes. So, anyway, StarCraft. Take it away, Brian.
StarCraft was definitely in consideration. It did not make my list, but I thought about it. It came up. It did. So that's a good choice.
Also, side note, this is metagaming. But Mick mentioned to me something about just choosing soundtracks that he owned the vinyls or she owned the vinyls of. So
yeah, I'm noticing a theme.
So also, are you the one taking the pictures of all these soundtracks?
These are
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't, like, similar to last week. I had Arc load the images in. Awesome. So I didn't see them,
Yeah.
but Arc did mention that all of Mick's picks, or at least most of them, were of vinyl. I was just like, so I didn't know if she'd found them on the internet or what. But these are the perks of working at a record store.
So, metagaming, yes.
Yeah, but I would say that that proves that Mick is truly a fan of these OSTs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't say I'm not a fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and having said that, I'm thinking / hoping that this one will be, if not on Mick's list, somewhere in Mick's collection, and that's Scott Pilgrim versus the World, my number 4.
Okay.
So it's all the music is by chiptune band Anamanaguchi. They wrote the soundtrack strictly for this game, and it introduced me to the band, and now they're like one of my favorite bands. And man, I just remember one of the first trailers for this game. Some of the songs playing during that were just they got us so hyped for the game itself. And I still put the songs from this soundtrack in just like random playlists, not even just video game playlists, because there are a lot of bangers on it.
I will agree. There are, like, Endless Winter is usually is pretty high up on my just rando song lists. But Sean, do you seem to have an opinion on this, or were you just deep in thought?
Are these aren't from the movie? These are only from the video game?
These are only from the video game.
Yeah, totally different from the movie.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I heard Scott Pilgrim and my brain started frying. I was like,
no, I didn't break my own rule. Yeah.
Who on this show does that?
Who would do such a thing?
I don't know, Ian. What was the name of the first episode? Yeah, but if you don't know the soundtrack, check it out. It's great, and also the game has been re-released, right?
Yes, it is
now
available again.
It exists again, yes.
Yeah.
The physical version is shipping very soon, so.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
All right. So my number 4, huh?
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 is a game that I fell in love with this year and definitely helped me get through the pandemic, for sure. Because it is a game about slogging your way over and over and over again through some rough shit.
I figured this was going to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and yep,
that tracks.
Twine's already guessed it. It is, if I can find, there it is. There's the icon. It is Hades. And I feel backed up in this because in most of the award shows and award programs that Hades has been in, if there is a music category, Hades has been nominated in most of them. Darren Korb did some amazing work. And I gotta say, like, not just like the atmospheric stuff and the level music, which when it gets to like really heavy, it really is like, no, I need to break some stuff. I need to smash some shades and and wretches. But the slower music that they do, like all of the music that the character Eurydice sings, is just beautiful. It's just like beautifully done. The lady that they have singing just has an amazing voice. I wish I could remember her name right now. What was that? Ashley Barrett, I believe. I am getting from an outside source.
She did a lot of the songs on Transistor too.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Like Supergiant Games has a stable, and for good reason. Because Darren Korb did Transistor as well, so that makes sense. Twine, also a great point. The Eurydice and Orpheus duets, when you get to that phase in the game, are also amazing. And Orpheus is Darren Korb singing very high. Very high. like almost Geddy Lee high,
Mhm.
but much more melodic.
No disrespect to Hades, but every time I look at the art for it, like I'm doing right now, I can't unsee that the protagonist there is a Homestuck troll with gray skin and unicorn horns. That's just what I think every time I see that art.
Yeah, that art is it's great art, but yeah, it sort of paints a picture of the game um that the game does not actually go deep into. The art's like I love Hades period. And the art style is amazing. But this is about music and not art. I will say we had the chance to buy it on vinyl, but we missed out. So we do not have a copy of Hades on vinyl presently.
Yet.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that this is number 4. I thought this would be higher, honestly.
Yeah.
It was another one that it was like, yeah, the second we decided, it's like, all right, Hades is on the list, and it moved up and down a bunch.
Is it, not to spoil the rest of your list, but is it because it's just so new?
Yeah, it won't spoil the list, but yeah, part of it is that it's definitely the newest game on this list. There are other things that are more classic, at least to me. But yeah, like the Hades music ever since that's come out, that's been a whole bunch of on a whole bunch of playlists since it came out. And there have been times where I've gone into one of the rooms where Eurydice is. She's a random spawn, and just like stood there and just listened. Like very rare that I play a video game where I'm like, I'm going to stop playing and listen to the music for a moment.
Sweet.
All right, Sean, your number 4.
Me. My number 4. So this is going back to the stories I was telling about. This is one of the few games that I've actually played to completion, and it brings me back to when I was in my late teens. But it is Final Fantasy X. So here's our first Final Fantasy of the list. And it is just, it's so memorable in a lot of ways. Anytime I could just hear that beginning piano chord, like I just hear the rest of the song in my head. And there will be times that, when I just want to go and chill out, I will just listen to that soundtrack. So it's very memorable. I think it's the best of the Final Fantasies, but then again, that's the only one that I've really dove into. So
no deal.
Yeah. See, I'm with Sean.
Great.
I'm with Sean on this one. Like, granted, I also haven't played a ton of the Final Fantasies.
And you can't say which one's the best.
Yes,
one.
I can.
6.
music?
You both are saying 10, and I think Brian and I would both say 6.
We will see
Right.
if you both say 6.
No, I'm not talking about music. I'm talking about game. I'm talking about
This is
okay,
the best
okay.
Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah, the best
I'm
Final
not
Fantasy
saying,
is 6.
I'm
Okay.
saying it's the best
Talk
Final
that as a
Fantasy.
future episode where we argue which is the best Final Fantasy game.
Look,
No, I'm just saying
there's
it's
enough
the
of
best
them. We
music.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's the best music, not that it's the best game.
Okay.
I can rank my favorite Final Fantasies right now. Let me get a card.
So I want to concur with Sean on the music, though I will say the one song from Final Fantasy that is on my regular rotation video game list is actually the song Otherworld, which is the one yeah. It plays in the opening cinematic. And it's just so different than the rest of the music on the soundtrack. It's just like
so absurd.
It's so good though.
it is.
It really is.
It really is.
It's jarring.
Well, yeah,
And then,
because
it comes back in a boss fight. And,
you're going through the game. You're just chilling with this like calm piano music, and then burn out.
Yeah, and I love it when it comes up in that boss fight. I won't spoil who it is, but like they jump off a cliff and transform into a monster, and like there's silence, and then it goes burn out, and like a giant monster hand comes in, like. Oh, so good.
It really is, yeah.
I will say one of the other things I do like about Final Fantasy is it does a very good job of doing variations on a theme. Like there are like 8 versions of Song of the Faith on there, and they're all good.
And the song that's played in the lake, the Sutaki Dane, I forget. But like it's the Tidus and Yuna love theme.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's used a few times throughout the soundtrack too. And I think like at a part at the like in the ending, and it's like kind of bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
And the music is partly why when I first beat the game I cried.
Mm.
For
it's
like
very
an
emotional
hour.
music, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy VI is a better game, so.
All right.
All right.
Converted 1 so far, Ian.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. So, as far as for those at home keeping score, Final Fantasy is currently 1-0 over Zelda.
Well, it's also tied with Hades, Sonic, StarCraft, Celeste, Scott Pilgrim, and Chrono Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as franchises go, we are tied 1-1.
Yeah,
I guess except Zelda has 0. So
yeah, so far we
Sure.
don't even have the same publisher on here with well, the exception of like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy. There's some Square overlap there, but like still. Okay.
I'm sure we'll get more.
Oh, I'm sure. There's 16 more minimum that we have to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now Brian does 3, right? If I'm understanding the order correctly. Okay.
And my number 3 is a Zelda game. So they're on the board. My Zelda game, Link to the Past. It's for me. I think this is where a lot of like the NES games obviously established a lot of classic tunes from the franchise. But I think with the 16-bit arrangements, I think a lot of them were first given a lot of life, like a new kind of life.
Mm-hmm.
The overworld redux in this version is excellent, but it also introduced fantastic songs like Dark World. God, I could just listen to the soundtrack like all day, probably. Find at least an appropriate tune for any mood for like any day of my life. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to really say about it. It's a phenomenal soundtrack.
No Song of Storms, though.
No Song of Storms.
Yeah, it is not on this this soundtrack.
No.
But...
So, Link to the Past, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the side scroller, right?
No, the top down.
This is the top down from the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Side scroller is Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the one with Song of Storms. It is Zelda Ocarina of Time. So putting Zelda one up over over Final Fantasy. This one, like, very similar to Brian. Like, there's just so many good songs on here, and a lot of the songs that were not introduced to the franchise that became evergreen were introduced in Ocarina of Time. Especially, I put this one up over most of the other Zelda games because a lot of the Zelda, like, I think Ocarina of Time arguably has had more influence over the rest of the franchise, aside from the original game, than any of the others. Because Majora's Mask shares a lot of music and takes a lot of cues. Twilight Princess, very similar. Takes a lot of cues from Ocarina of Time. And even Breath of the Wild, arguably one of the best Zelda games they've ever made. Same thing, a lot of cues from Ocarina of Time. And you actually play music in it.
That's true. You can totally rock out on your ocarina, just not even playing a real song, just
And everyone did it. Everyone had a time after you got the ocarina, before you knew any of the songs in game, and you were just like, yeah, whatever, just hit all these C buttons, it's fine.
You're just shredding, trying to be the next Jethro Tull.
Oh, I should have brought my flute. Still can't play it, but I own it.
It's in your blood.
Yeah.
It is.
It's destiny based on your name.
Yeah, it's in your name. Sweet. All right. 2 Zelda games on the board. Take that, Final Fantasy. You bunch of nerds. All right, Sean. Time to pick a Final Fantasy or Zelda game.
All right. I considered Wind Waker for a while, but then I decided against it. So it's not a Zelda game.
Combo breaker.
Yeah,
that means it's a Final Fantasy game.
It's not a Final Fantasy game either. It is a game that they're working on it. It's not great, but it's really, the music's really good. And that would be Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay.
It is a really enjoyable atmosphere. I didn't stick with the game very long, but I do plan on going back to it because the world is really cool. The world building's neat, and the music and the radio and all that stuff is very, very fun. And that futuristic soundtrack is really neat.
What's also cool is for like a quote unquote jukebox game, almost all the songs on the soundtrack were created for the game using popular artists. So like they have a song that plays on the radio by Run the Jewels, which they wrote about Cyberpunk.
This does kind of skirt jukebox a little bit, doesn't it?
But it counts. We determined that it's okay if it's all original music. So
true.
Yep.
It is all music created for the game, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
And the trailer song is awesome.
Yeah. That's really what, like, when we first did this, I was like, yep, all right, Cyberpunk's on there. Now what?
Yeah. But it doesn't have Gerudo Valley, though.
True.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You got a point.
Yeah.
All right, change it to Wind Waker.
So I go.
You go.
So Cyberpunk 2077 is a very like EDM soundtrack, and on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have ambient, which is the soundtrack to Minecraft. I think what's really cool is the most popular game literally of all time, Minecraft, has a super minimal ambient soundtrack. This is the only record that I don't have within arm's reach because it's at the office right now. So I can't show it off in person, but I think the other thing is it is really well defined as part of the overall sound design of Minecraft. It's very relaxing to just kind of like listen to. It's very minimal piano type stuff. It's got like an Eric Satie-ness to it. But it works in concert with the game because the like little like block chipping noises almost like fade into the background music, so it creates this like very comfortable sort of sound. I think actually the sound design of Minecraft is maybe the best designed like soundscape of a game, with how the soundtrack interplays with the sound effects, interplays with the environmental aspects of it, like the rain and the ocean and the mob noises. It's just a very, very well designed package. And so that particular record is Minecraft Alpha, which is the first soundtrack, but there's a couple of other works, some of which made it into the game and some of which didn't. But very, very relaxing stuff. Comfy music. Very different than the cyberpunk stuff. But still in the realm of electronica, which is why electronica is the best genre of all time. Maybe it's actually classical, because all techno is derived from classical. But
boom.
Yeah. It's more fun when there's synthesizers.
I'd agree. Yeah. I'd agree with that.
I bet Bach would agree with that.
Like,
he's a fan of the keyboard.
Yeah. Like, imagine what he could have done with even just like a Moog from the 70s, man. Like.
Oh, man.
Top 5 composers.
Oh, I would love to do that list.
I could do that. Because I mean, we're talking. We'll get into this later. But are we talking like composers like of all time or within a period?
Probably
Anything.
of all time. Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We can do multiples.
I've got two.
Put Nobuo Uematsu and Bach in the same list.
Yeah, I've got two already. I'm good. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Koji Kondo. Yeah. We're talking Zelda.
Funny, both of those game composers didn't really study music. They were kind of like, I guess I'm writing music for video games now. I'll do what I can, and some of the best composers of all time.
Mhm. All right. So number 2.
So we're number 2s.
So it's you, Ian.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So
do it. You won't do it.
Do it. I will do it. So if we're going by vinyl ownership as a level of desire to, as a level of enjoyment of the game and the everything and the soundtrack, I will have to say my number 2 is one of the most nonsensical games of all time, Katamari Damacy. And I do own the vinyl right here. And even just the opening, where you're on just this Namco opening screen, and you just have this white field and this ball rolls onto it, and you don't know what the hell you're supposed to do. The controls don't even work normally, and it's just na 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 na. It's literally just that. It's just a dude vocalizing the overall theme, and you're just like, okay, yeah, give me more of this, and then it just gets better the entire game. And this is another one that I could just do the franchise of, because there's a lot of repeats and remixes throughout the franchise into We Heart Katamari and Katamari Forever. So I might as well go with the OG.
OGKD.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Fun choice, too.
Tom Cadigan would definitely side with you, except it's not your number 1, so what are you doing?
Yeah.
We'll get there. But yeah, no, like that's like the game definitely also, like the game and the music, a lot of fond memories of hotel rooms and basements. Just playing that game. Like we bought the game at Anime Boston one year, back when we had to when you had to do stuff to the back of the hotel TV to plug a video game system into it. Like we
not that you'd ever done that, right?
No, definitely not. Definitely didn't get real good at it. But yeah, we had brought a PS2 because we wanted to play Time Splitters in our off time, and which also a very good game with a pretty good soundtrack. Somebody found a copy of Katamari down on the show floor in the dealer's room, and we just immediately left the convention, went up to the hotel room, and wasted the rest of the day playing Katamari. So
sick.
All right.
See?
Sean.
Sir Sean.
My number 2, I'm not sure if anybody else is going to mention it, but I don't think that it will receive any flack. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Okay.
It has one of the most powerful soundtracks of games that I've ever played. Fighting Dragons is always intense, and the first time you hear all the like chanting and the Dovahkiin stuff, it's an incredible experience. Very fun, very good soundtrack. Listen to it a few times outside of the game. It doesn't work as well when you're not in the game world, but when you're in that world, it's an incredible soundtrack.
I would agree. I'm actually replaying it right now. Well, not right now, but you know,
This second.
I got a Switch. We can do this.
You have 15 screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually had fond memories aside from the like that game when a dragon is coming, you know a dragon's coming, not just because the dragon's there, but like that swell comes up and the chanting starts and you're like, "All right, let's F up this lizard. Let's do it." But we were at a like a rock and jewelry shop in Westbrook, and we were just looking around, browsing, and like I suddenly hear over the speaker, I'm like, "This is Whiterun." And that was when we discovered that the shop owners were nerds.
Well, they sell rocks for a living.
They do.
So...
They do. But they were our kind of nerds.
I see.
So Mick.
So yeah, my number 2. So yeah, my theme is that I picked only soundtracks that I currently own on vinyl. I've now been collecting records for 8 years. But there was one record that actually was the first one that I ever bought, and it was a video game soundtrack, and it was, of course, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game.
What color is
it? It is translucent yellow.
Nice.
So it's actually getting a repress, and I bought the repress color too. It hasn't arrived, but I'll have 2 copies of it on vinyl.
Nice.
I don't double dip super often. But yeah, so Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game is really, really good. I also have all of Anna Managuchi's other albums on vinyl, including Endless Fantasy, which looks super good. I almost bought their Dawn City Megalopolis on NES cart, but I couldn't justify spending $80 on that.
Oof.
But I almost did. Anyway, Anna Managuchi is very, 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 very talented, and yes, Brian, you were dead on. First record I ever bought was a video game soundtrack, and it was Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So
F yeah.
Great job, everybody.
Well, that's 2 for Scott Pilgrim, beating the Final Fantasy franchise as a whole right now.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim.
Get on the board, FF.
Well, Brian.
Well, you're next.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about to get on the board.
Brian,
Not on this one.
Spoilers.
So my number 2, ending our number 2 talk, is Mega Man 2. Some of these songs, like this is an NES song, and of course NES songs usually have like an infinite loop that they go on, and some of the songs in Mega Man 2, the loop is literally like 30 seconds, but pretty much every song is a banger. One of the songs, whenever there's like a list of best video game songs of all time, number 1 on a lot of those lists is Wily Castle Theme 1. So good. So good. And it has so many layers that it just keeps adding on top of it, and then just like has a big shout chorus. Soundtrack's baller. If you haven't played Mega Man 2, I think it's the best Mega Man game. And you can't even charge your Mega Buster in it yet, and you can't even slide, but it's such a great game. Soundtrack, it's probably one of the games I've replayed the most too, and the soundtrack never gets old. There are certain songs on it I want to arrange for a jazz band to play, like a high school jazz band. I think would do a great job with like Crash Man. Yeah. But yeah, Mega Man 2, super awesome, and I don't think like any other soundtrack that Mega Man oh wait, actually, I can think of one, and now I'm mad that I didn't put it on my list. I'll stop talking in case someone else is talking about it. But oh man, okay.
Bad.
I just made myself mad with my own pick. Okay.
I would second Mega Man 2 just for Wily Castle. Like, take the rest of the soundtrack aside, very good though it is. Just leave Wily Castle, and yeah, worth it.
Yeah. Have it go 1v1 against other soundtracks.
Well, there are some of these soundtracks where it's just like, okay, I like one song, like I love the game. I really like one song, but then
Like
I mean,
Portal.
yeah, Portal is a great example. Like everyone loves
Mm.
Still Alive. It's a great song, but like other than that, there's like one other song on there that I'd like, and same with Half-Life, which for me has been a big hit on the protagonist and villain side. Um, and like some of the music is great. Like that first music you hear when you're going into Black Mesa in the original Half-Life is amazing. Can't remember the rest of the soundtrack.
Yeah, that tracks.
All right, so that's it for the bottom half of all of our lists. We are going to go ahead and we're going to take a quick break, take a pause, take a breather, recenter, and then
Can I audible my entire honorable mentions?
If you can do it in this break.
Yeah, maybe. Like, but yeah, we'll come back. We'll hit our honorable mentions. We'll get all those out of the way, and then we will finally crack into those number one slots. Which now
And
I'm
also a Slim Jim.
and snap into Slim Jim.
I gotta go to the store.
I'm honestly surprised at some of these. Like I thought that Chrono Trigger was going to be higher, so I don't know now. I don't know what's.
And we thought Hades
Brian.
and Sonic the Hedgehog was going to be higher for you. So.
Yep.
You know, I just realized. So all of our number fives have a C, and all of my choices have a C in them.
That is
man.
true.
Yeah, you broke your craft.
Minecraft, StarCraft. Maybe no.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, there could be more crafts in the future. We'll see.
Could be.
All of mine have an E. Does that count? Most commonly used vowel.
Yeah.
According to Wheel of Fortune.
Mine don't. Katamari Damacy does not have an E. Or an A or. Yeah, I think mine has absolutely no similarities whatsoever.
All right, let's take our break.
Okay.
Yeah, mine has the most G's. Mine has the most G's. Not letting that die.
All right, so yeah, we will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Doo-doo-doo.
Oh, and welcome back. Um, welcome back. 5-hit list video game OSTs. So far in our pre-show prediction of who's going to win, Zelda or Final Fantasy, the answer so far may be Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game. Currently tied with Zelda on the list. Final Fantasy having only one entry so far.
Weak showing so far.
Yes, indeed. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I am gonna be disappointed if Final Fantasy VII is somebody's number one. I will say this right now. Like,
will Ian be disappointed?
Will I be? I don't like One Winged Angel. That's my problem. Dumps the whole soundtrack down for me.
That's a you problem.
Yeah, that's very much a you problem.
Oh, I know. I'm like the only person who doesn't like it, apparently.
I believe so.
But before we get there, we should probably do our honorable mentions, which can be extensive. We've had a habit of making this extensive. When we used to do this around the table and there were like 12 people that we had to get through, most of the time we stuck to 1 or 2 honorable mentions. But where there's only 4 of us, we seem to have crept away from that restraint a little bit.
Yeah, as pointed out in the first episode, I had 9 honorable mentions, so guess I'm the one waving that banner so far. For half as many as you want.
Well, Sean, how many do you have?
Indeed.
2-ish?
2-ish. Alrighty.
Okay.
All right. So Ian, hit me with slide number 1.
Okay.
Hit me with your first slide.
This one is the one labeled slide 01.
I don't know which one is which.
It's Spotify and Audible.
So this is what I do most of the time.
Are you kidding me?
That's why it's an honorable mention, Brian.
I'm like,
it's an honorable mention because this is what I do 98% of the time is I don't listen to the video game music. I listen to either Spotify or an audiobook. So it's an honorable mention to something you could listen to instead of the video game soundtrack. Moving on.
Oh,
I mean, it's not.
God.
I'll.
It's not even on the list.
It's not even a video game, my friend.
It's not even on the list.
These are just companies. My favorite video game soundtrack of all time is Walmart.
It's not even on the list.
Okay. Number 2, then.
Number 2 is, again, it's a little bit of a cheat because we didn't want to do franchises, but the Fallout series, all like from Fallout 3, 4, New Vegas, and 76, they all have a bit of a hybrid mode. Most of what they're known for is the jukebox mode, where you're listening to the old-timey music, but they do have a lot of original music that is actually very well done. So I didn't want to put any of them on the list because of the jukebox that is so prevalent, but they do get an honorable mention because the original music is so good.
Okay.
Well, I agree with you that the music in Fallout is very good. You had to cheat twice.
I mean, at least honorable mentions. It's in the honorable mentions.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to come to your house and burn down your internet.
But like, okay,
wow,
okay, that's all right. All right.
So Sean, I gotta say, I'm actually kind of proud of the way you found another way to make my jaw drop on how you're going to break a rule.
I didn't break a rule on the list. The list is pure. The list is fine.
Spotify and Audible, especially Audible, I would have not have planned to be on a video game.
Flat out said in our group chat that I listen to audiobooks more than anything else.
I know. It's like the twist in a movie you should have saw coming, and you're just mad at yourself for not. That's how I feel right now.
That's fair. That's fair.
So well done, and screw you.
Okay.
High five. High five.
Yeah. Yes, please. Something else.
Do you have any more, Sean?
No, I had two-ish.
Okay, fair enough too. That's great. So when you all asked me to do this, I had my list ready within probably about a half hour, and then I was after submitting it, I was told that my number 5 actually did not count, because my number 5 is Fallout New Vegas, as played by the Marty Robbins album Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs,
which is an excellent album.
Which is a great album, but I really like the music in Fallout. And when we did this as a bracket in the PortCon group, we had the same sort of discussion, literally about the same game, Fallout New Vegas, and whether or not it counted. I think it counts because it's the soundtrack to the game, but in respect for the rules, I moved it to my honorable mentions. And then I decided to audible 2 more. I also wanted to add Mega Man
audible?
2. Audible.
This is, oh my god.
So I wanted to add Mega Man 2, and I also wanted to add Undertale, because Undertale really deserves a spot on this list, but it just didn't quite make it. But it's so good. It's such a great soundtrack, and it deserves to be here, but alas, you can only pick 5. So,
alas.
Sorry,
I
Undertale.
think, for Undertale, also the fact that everyone knows the song Megalomania now, even if you have no idea what Undertale is.
Oh yeah, it's one of the most covered video game songs of all time, I do believe.
Yeah. So those are my honorable mentions.
Esports Arms, everybody.
Esports. This is an actual stream reward. That's cool.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, there's an audible on the play touchdown.
Yeah.
See, it's all coming together. Those are my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Mega Man 2, Fallout New Vegas, and Undertale.
So now Mega Man is currently beating the Final Fantasy.
Beating Final Fantasy, yes, but now it is tied with Scott Pilgrim.
That's true. We got a 3-way tie.
We do.
That's the golden rule.
Yep.
Do we have a 3-way tie?
Yes.
Yeah, between Zelda, Mega Man 2, and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah.
Well, Zelda's got 2 separate entries, though.
Yeah, if we really want to narrow this down, it is truly a tie between Scott Pilgrim and
Mega Man
2. So
anyway, Brian, what are your honorable mentions?
Indeed.
My honorable.
Talk about all 15 of them.
There's only 5 this time. Wait, let me double check. Yeah, only 5 this time. And this is like my nostalgia picks. So there's like Final Fantasy IV, Castlevania 3, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Super Mario Brothers 3, and Ninja Gaiden for NES. So like anytime I make video game mixes on like Spotify or whatever, God, Spotify. This is not sponsored by Spotify and Audible, BT Dubs.
It's
not yet.
It's not.
It just happens to keep coming up. But yeah, these songs, these games all usually have songs on those mixes. Yeah. I don't have much else to say about them except they're all great, and I bet most people know tunes from them if you're a real gamer.
If you're a real gamer.
The real gamers. So now that's 2 Castlevania picks now, suddenly.
You can't.
Final Fantasy.
I don't think that counts.
Yeah. I will second Super Mario 3 for sure.
Yeah, I was debating whether it should be Mario Brothers 1 or Mario Brothers 3. Mario Brothers 3 has more songs though, so I picked that one.
Super Mario World also.
Also very
I do love Super Mario World.
Yeah. Hard to hate it.
Yeah. That might be my favorite Mario game.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
There's another potential list day.
Just Mario games.
Just Mario games, yeah.
All right. So my honorable mentions, I've got 3 real ones, but I do also want to throw out F-Zero. I don't have an image for it, but Mute City and Big Blue are just two amazing songs off of that soundtrack. Even though F-Zero is just such a short-lived franchise, like Captain Falcon has been in more Super Smash Brothers games than F-Zero games.
F-Zero games.
Yeah.
And that same voice line, Falcon Punch, has been reused every time, right?
Yep. Falcon Punch, Falcon Kick. Yep, both of them.
They haven't even bothered to re-record it.
Yeah.
You don't mess with perfection.
No. And one of my other honorable mentions is where is my thing? Pokemon Red and Blue, also by extension Green and Yellow. A lot of those, like you know the Pallet Town song, you know Lavender Town. You definitely know Lavender Town. Everybody does. Where Pokemon go to die. And a lot of those songs are just like the battle music is just burned into my head. And basically every Pokemon game subsequent to those has used some of the original music from these in some way, in some remix or remaster or tweak. Like the Pokemon Centers still use the Pokemon Center theme in some version. Like, can't get away from perfection. And second,
Red and Blue?
Yeah, Red and Blue. For those of us here in the United States. My second honorable mention is Nine Parchments, to throw another indie game on here. Nine Parchments has a beautiful soundtrack all the way through, and it is another game that does a very good job of variations on a theme. A lot of the music is different takes on the overall Nine Parchments overture, if you will. And it's another game where the music just flows right with the game very well. It's never obtrusive, but it's always just right there with you. It's always a good part of the game. But it is a relatively short game, so there isn't a ton of music, regrettably.
Well, it's short depending on how long people just troll each other and kill each other.
How many run-throughs you want to do.
That is true.
Yeah.
And my third honorable mention is the first video game soundtrack that I bought on vinyl, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Also, it's not going to show up on the green screen because indeed it is green. So
yeah. That's weird because you can see the light reflecting off it, but not the vinyl.
But yeah, this one I have, and I'm going to be honest, I have never read Scott Pilgrim. I have never seen the movie, and I have never played this game, but I own the soundtrack on vinyl. That's how much I like it.
It's real good.
And it would probably have made the list if I had actually played the game. But
you probably
Fair
will
enough.
Eventually.
Now that I can.
It's out on Switch.
Yeah, part of the problem was when I bought this, the game was already like hard to play or hard to find. Like
it got taken off the eShops, so you couldn't play it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it got a record store day release, which was great.
Yep.
So that is it for my honorable mentions.
Is that everyone's honorables?
That's all
of
them.
That's all the honorables.
That's all the honorables.
One thing I did mention in chat is Streets of Rage 2. I thought about it didn't quite make them honorable mentions, but a lot of lists that I saw online mentioned that as a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
There are a couple that almost made my honorable mentions list, but I don't own them on vinyl, so
So they were disqualified.
Yeah. They may as well not exist.
There are. We'll see what number ones give, but there are a lot of games from the 18 and 16-bit era that have amazing soundtracks that I.
18-bit?
8 and 16. That's what
okay.
Yeah.
I think that at least 3 of these are going to be from 8 or 16-bit.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be at least 3 SNES games in the ones.
Turtles in Time.
I have a feeling I know. Nick.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to point out something from the chat. Sorry, Mick. So people were talking about Metroid.
Yep.
I mean, there's some good tunes on the Metroid stuff. Super Metroid's got a freaking killer soundtrack.
I love Brinstar. Brinstar's great.
Yeah.
Especially
there hasn't been a Metroid game in the past like 32 years, so it's been
that is
a long damn time.
I will say, yeah, one of the best soundtrack collections that I've ever gotten was it was a pre-order bonus for buying Super Smash Brothers Wii U. You could actually get the soundtrack on a 2-disc set.
I have that.
All of the remasters and redos of those songs for Smash Bros. And they're some of the best versions I've ever heard. Like, my favorite version of Gerudo Valley is from that Mute City as well. But the Brinstar version from that is just, it slaps. It slaps so hard.
So I just realized, I mean, maybe it's too late now, but we said no jukebox games, but could I have said Super Smash Brothers to just include like every good video game?
I think if
ever included in a Nintendo game?
If everybody's okay with it, we can call it a group honorable mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say an honorable mention because I'm gonna put it down.
It's not as high as like Spotify or Audible, but it's close.
It's basically like picking a greatest hits
right
album.
underneath.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. What's your favorite album?
Yeah.
Oh, Chicago 4. Like, come on.
Yeah, Changes
don't
Bowie.
Do that.
Yeah, because like it is a jukebox soundtrack in a way, but it does have original tunes too.
It has the Super Smash Brothers theme, yes.
Yeah, the Brawl theme is
good.
My personal favorite of the Smash Bros. Themes.
I was disappointed that they finally put lyrics to it, and a bunch of those versions are floating around out there, and it's like, nope.
Well, the original had lyrics; they were just in Latin, so they sounded cool.
Yeah. But then they put them in English.
Well,
it's not real words.
Mistakes.
Dead language doesn't count.
Yep. So are we doing number one? Should I do my number one?
We're on to your number one.
I guess so. Yeah.
It's your time.
Shock everybody.
Take it away.
It's really surprising. It's well, why don't you tell me what my number one is? Anybody want to guess?
Scott Pilgrim versus the World again.
No, one per franchise.
Well, let's see. It's not Undertale. We showed that. I'm honestly, unless it's Turtles in Time, I don't know.
It's not Turtles. Are you memeing or do you really not know?
Yeah.
I really don't know. I honestly have.
I definitely know.
I honestly have no foreknowledge of this. The way
Fair
that we do
enough.
it now. So
I can definitely name the franchise. Pretty sure I know which one specifically, just in case. But
yeah.
Hold up the number. Yeah.
Yeah. Mother 2. Yeah. So the soundtrack to Earthbound is my number one. I'm sure it will pop up as a picture, but I have the show and tell right here.
Yeah.
It is my favorite game soundtrack, but it's not that.
No, that's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
I fixed it.
So yeah, Mother 2 is a very, very good soundtrack. It's not just my favorite soundtrack of all time, it includes my favorite piece of music of all time. Smiles and Tears, which is the credits theme, is my favorite piece of music. Like, of any genre, of any game, of any band, of anything. I have a strong connection to the game overall and a strong connection to the music. And a lot of the music that I like now is informed by listening to this at a really impressionable young age. So, like, I like weird, esoteric, jazzy kind of stuff because that's what Earthbound was. And I like, ambient because that's what Earthbound was. So Mother 2 is my number one, and it's really not even close. Undertale is basically a Mother 2 fan album, which is great. And so some of the methodology is improved just because you can use modern recording techniques and modern synthesizers and stuff. But yeah, it's literally not close for me. It's in a league of its own.
Checks out. When are we getting that re-release?
I'm working on it.
or just Mother 3.
Well,
Bring it.
Yeah.
I am literally working on a reissue for Mother 2 soundtrack though.
Sick.
Yeah.
Can't say any more than that.
Mick makes dreams come true. Maybe.
Trying.
Sweet.
All right.
All right. Well, does that bring me to mine?
Yes.
Okay. So, you wanted to know if Final Fantasy would appear. It will. Which one do you think is my number one?
Mystic Quest.
It's gonna be 9.
Wow.
Final Fantasy 9.
14.
9. We have a 6. We have a 14.
Yeah.
It is 6. Final Fantasy 6.
I saw it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, first time I hit the wrong button. Second time is because I didn't catch the hesitation on purpose. Anyway, do elaborate.
Yeah. So 6. Favorite soundtrack of all time for a game. This actually is part of the reason why I decided to become a music major in college and really get into writing music. Was like playing this game for one, and then our older sister's friend loaned her the soundtrack to it, and we would just sit and just listen to it like for hours. Like it's 3 discs. It's incredible. It's got an opera in it. It's got one of the best demonstrations, I think, of the usage of leitmotifs or motives used to represent characters or events. And it just like reimagines each leitmotif in various ways to demonstrate like backstories or like battles featuring those characters and stuff like that. And then it's got one of the first examples of a super epic final battle. The final battle piece is 4 minutes, or no, 4 movements.
Oh, yeah.
Dancing Mad, and then the ending theme, I believe, is 20 minutes long alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
For a SNES game, pretty ridiculous, and it throws in pretty much like a reimagining of every song in the game again one more time to tell you the ending of the story. It's fantastic. I think it's Uematsu's absolute masterpiece. Yeah, made me want to be a composer.
It's really, really good. It's definitely the best Final Fantasy game and the best soundtrack.
Yeah.
And it's not 7, so I'm not mad.
Can I retcon one of my picks real quick just to piss off Ian?
No, which one would you retcon? You can't at this point.
I can't do it.
Like
get rid of Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, you'd have to lose Chrono Trigger and
No, it's not happening.
I know you wouldn't.
So
do
now
that.
we got 2 SNES games.
Yeah.
Ian, you gonna give me a third SNES game?
I am not.
Oh. Have we met the criteria for your card yet, Mick?
Well, the criteria is which franchise will have the most, and there's still 2 unrevealed things.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So
okay.
I predicted the franchise that would have the most entries
Okay.
on my card.
Okay.
So we have 2 more reveals.
So mine is not a SNES game, though it is a very simplistic game. So it might have actually been really at home on the Super Nintendo.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Mick remembers.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you're right.
Mine is the music of the video game Journey, which is another soundtrack that I can just listen to just on its own. Another not crazy long soundtrack because it's not a crazy long game. This was one of the first games that I beat in an afternoon, and I take a long time to beat games. But this was one of the first video games where the music really made me feel something. And for those of you who know me, I am an emotionless dick. So, like...
Can confirm.
Yeah.
It's not true.
So, but yeah, like listening to this, like hearing, like the soundtrack just works with the gameplay so tightly that it really makes you feel the lows when you hit the lows. And then when you hit the really high points, just emotionally in the story, when it's like bright and fun, you're right up there with it. And then just the final song, when you hit the end of the game and you really realize what the whole game was all about, like it just carries you right over. And like I felt real emotions just sitting on Tom's couch playing this on his PS3 for an afternoon. Like it's not a place where I feel a lot of emotion. So yeah, for me, if we want to talk favorite composers again, Austin Wintory, the gentleman who did this game, is a genius. Also worked on Hades a little bit. Wasn't so I think he was the conductor for the orchestra on that part. But yeah, that's definitely my solid pick.
Sweet. So that leaves Sean.
Does.
Very concerned now.
Bring us home, man.
I'm hella concerned.
Uh-oh.
My number one
It's Amazon Prime, isn't it?
is
This-
Pandora.
This is over. This podcast thing, whatever it is,
Music, yeah.
is just over.
No, my number one is League of Legends.
Okay.
Now the music of like the game, I don't know that I've ever heard it because it always gets muted. But the music of the world and all the like the login screens and then all the music that they do around the game for all the characters, like the KDA stuff and the pentakill, and like it's incredible. It is some of my favorite music in general. Makes almost every playlist I ever put together. And I think that even though it's not something that I hear in Summoner's Rift, like while I'm playing the game, I still think that it's part of the soundtrack of the world of League of Legends. So
I think it counts.
I do love Legends
Yeah.
Never Die.
yeah.
There aren't a lot of games that have multiple like world championship songs, and they write a new one every year, and it's like
Yeah.
a huge reveal.
Yeah.
And every one of them
yeah.
has been at
A banger.
least good.
Oh,
like
yeah. No, Giants
none
was
of them have
awesome.
missed. Yeah.
Oh, was that actually the tournament song?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great tune.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it sort of skirts the edge a little bit because it's not something you listen to while you're playing the game. It's not, Journey while it's part of the music, and it's not Skyrim where, you go and fight Baron and all of a sudden the music swells. But
Maybe it
which
should.
would be dope
It
if all of a
should.
sudden like
That would be
KDA
sick.
started cranking while you're fighting Baron.
Oh, man.
But like if you
So
go in
hype.
and just listen to every character's loading screen song, like for when you're loading the game,
Get jinxed.
every
Yeah,
one
Get
of them
Jinxed.
is
Yep.
incredible.
Hmm.
And they all fit the theme of the character and where they come from. It's all just so good.
Mhm.
So that was my yeah. That was my number one. As soon as we had this discussion start, I was like, well, there's my number one. Now what do I do? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That company really does a pretty cool, like the fact that they have like all this exterior stuff that still exists within the lore and world of their game based on like the skins, which are all just like alternate universe versions of their champs. Yeah. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, there
Their
are a lot
game.
of things that Riot does not do amazing, but
Somewhat of an understatement.
somewhat.
Yeah.
But yeah, the music is on point.
Yeah. The character designs, the skins, and the music are a big part of why I stay interested in the franchise, even though I don't play it anymore.
yeah.
That reminds me, Brian, I have to buy you a gift in the game because if you ever decide to start playing again for any reason, there's a World Championship icon for the player Ghost. So you can get an icon that says Ghost.
Fuck.
So I'm gonna gift that to you so you can log in and have that icon for if you ever decide to play again. I mean, maybe you can use the icons in Runeterra. I don't know.
Well, at the very least, I'll log in and receive my gift.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I was like, usually that's a time limited thing, so I wanted to make sure that you had access to that for the future if you ever decide to play. I'm not saying you should play. The game is actually in not a very fun spot right now. I don't recommend playing it, but
not a good idea.
Although
you should.
Sorry.
Nope. Don't do it. It's a trap. don't play League of Legends.
Even though it's our number one, do not play this game.
Don't play.
I think that's the only game on our lists that we've actively said
don't play this right now.
Don't play this game. Just listen to the music.
Yeah. Go on Spotify. Not sponsored by Spotify. And the soundtracks.
So now I have my card, right?
Yes. What is the
card say? The question was, what will have more franchise entries, Zelda or Final Fantasy? And I said it's going to be neither of those. Mm-hmm. And I said it was going to be Scott Pilgrim.
Oh my god!
All right. So I think we actually have. Let's see. So I will turn on the master list here. Put that up on the stream.
If we count how many times it was featured on one of the entries for a person's list, I chose 2 Final Fantasy games, so that would still count as 1. Sean picked 1, so that's only 2.
Yeah.
A Legend of Zelda only appeared on Ian and I's list.
Yep, just twice.
But Scott Pilgrim was
appeared
3 out of 4.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Sean, do you want to call an audible on your audible pick?
Wait, what am I doing?
Well, I mean, he doesn't have to. Scott Pilgrim is already winning. Scott Pilgrim already has 3 to 2.
Yeah.
So, Scott Pilgrim's got it.
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim is the winner.
And knowing that one Anamanaguchi song, I'm just like, yeah, I'll give it to Scott. That's fine.
Sure. Yeah.
I think one of the only things that gets me about it is that this is not a bad thing, but in effect, that is actually like Anamanaguchi's first full album.
It's their 3rd full album.
Really? I thought they had only done like EPs before that.
No, Don Metalopoulos and the other one whose name I can't remember off the top of my head are both full length.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's Don Metropolis?
Yeah,
right?
Don Metropolis and the other one.
And there were a bunch of like singles.
And then there were a couple of singles, but a couple of singles came after it, like Miku and Pop It.
Yeah.
Well, those came after Endless.
Those were both after Endless Fantasy too. Yeah. Frug.
Yeah.
What is Master List?
Oh, the Master List is something like the first time when we did video game protagonists, we actually had no consensus whatsoever.
I see.
So we could not actually make one. But villains, we actually had a lot of consensus. We had the Scott Pilgrim of that one was GLaDOS. GLaDOS.
I remember it being GLaDOS. Yeah.
GLaDOS made 3 actual lists and my honorable mention. So yeah. So GLaDOS basically just swept that one. But this time we actually do sort of have a bit of a ranking. We have Scott Pilgrim number 1 apparently, because it was featured on 3 different spots. Final Fantasy.
And it was on the card. It was on the card.
And it was on the card.
Yep.
Final
Fantasy technically got 2 and an honorable mention. So Final Fantasy did beat Zelda, regrettably. Zelda got mentioned twice.
But different games, so I think Mega Man 2 should take the 3rd slot.
Mega Man 2 and then Zelda would take the 4th spot because I did talk about Wind Waker a little bit, even though it didn't quite make a list.
Yeah. And then 5 is Audible. Because both Sean and I said
Audible a lot.
Yeah, we said Audible a lot.
You calling an Audible doesn't mean you picked the audio book thing.
Like,
Oh my word.
An audible.
But how do we do a number 5? Because now we have
Smash Bros. That was our
Oh,
group
that's right.
honorable.
Yeah,
Smash
Smash
Bros.
Bros.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We got it.
it.
Smash Bros. / Audible.
Yeah,
Flash
we got it.
Honorable mention to audible.com.
Well, wait,
Yeah, Megan Man.
Megan Man.
Megan Man.
Use code PowerWordCasual at checkout to get your first book free.
Megan Man 2.
All right, see, I'm glad that no one called me out on this though. Both times I had to write 6 at the end of something for both Final Fantasy and Civ. I wrote 4 both times first.
I didn't even notice.
And they're like, shit. That's not how Roman numerals work.
Yeah, Smash O's.
Civ 4 was very good though.
Civ 4 was good, but I've had
5 and 6 were better.
many more hours chilling playing Civ on my Switch with 6.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good on the Switch. If you don't have it on the Switch, I highly suggest.
I do have it on I have it on the Switch, but my only complaint with it is that DLC doesn't carry over. So all of the stuff that I've got unlocked on Steam, none of those save files can play on the Switch. If I want to play vanilla, I can cross-play, but which is still cool. But I've sunk too much money into Civ 6, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
What game have you bought the most times on different systems?
Skyrim.
Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Bioshock Infinite. Actually, maybe also no. Bioshock Infinite is tied with Diablo 3 for me.
For me,
no shit! It's Earthbound. Never mind.
How could it not have
Wait a
been?
minute.
That's why I was like, wait. Chrono Trigger for me.
Yeah, I bought Skyrim on the 360, and then I traded it in and bought the Legendary Edition of Skyrim, also for the 360. And then I bought it for the Xbox One. I technically have it on PC, though I've never played it on PC. I think I just got a download code from somewhere. And I do have it on the Switch. So, 5 times for me.
For Chrono Trigger, we had it on SNES. I got it when it was on the Final Fantasy Chronicles PS1 release. Even though it's not a Final Fantasy game, it was bunched with FF4. I bought it on DS, and I own it on mobile. You can get it on iOS.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, Twine brings up something good. Doom on a smart toaster. Not only is that a great idea, Doom almost made my honorable mentions just because of
the
Doom.
graphic calculator.
Just because the opening music in Doom, the first music you hear, it's just just gets
Doom
you
2016, the Mick Gordon soundtrack is also very good.
Very good. Yep. Yeah, he did a great job bringing that all into a nice modern take.
Hot take though, Grab Bag is better than E1M1.
Uh-oh. There's going to be a fight between Twine and Mick.
Yeah, maybe.
Megadeth never recorded E1M1. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
They did record a cover of Grab Bag.
Yeah, that's true. There was something I was listening to earlier. It was a metal cover of some video game song. I do not remember what it was, but it was almost Iron Maiden-y, and I wish I could remember what it was. And I was just like, ooh. Yes, give me galloping everything with this video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, galloping drums, galloping bass, just give me.
That's why you like Gerudo Valley.
That's one of the reasons, in all honesty.
Just galloping.
And like there are a few versions of it that really take it in like a very serious flamenco direction. It already has that feel to start with, but a lot of takes bring it really hard with full Spanish guitar and a lot of percussion, and it's beautiful.
Sick.
All right.
Sick.
So, congratulations to Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game. And
for the best franchise.
The best franchise. Congratulations, Anamanaguchi, for your achievements on 5-hit list.
You finally hit the big time.
Yep, you hit the big time. Doesn't matter that I saw you guys on stage with Miku in that one time. That wasn't the big time. This is.
Yep, this is it.
But
They
yeah,
did it.
congratulations. That was good. We argued less on this one than we did with protagonists. I gotta say, protagonists we argued the whole time.
Because
Yeah.
we all
Argued
agreed
about-
what we were doing.
That was pretty contentious.
Yeah,
Was it contentious because you couldn't decide what counts as a protagonist?
that was part of it.
That was
Okay.
part of that was a recurring thing.
That
yeah.
was part of it.
Okay.
But just in general, like there was also a lot of like, okay, this person is a protagonist, is a hero, is a protagonist, but like
My number one was very hated.
What was your number one?
My number one was both Abby and Ellie from The Last of Us 2.
Yeah. 2 people in one slot is not allowed. But
Two
not as
sides
bad
of
as
the same
Ian,
coin.
who's
Same
number
coin, baby.
4.
look.
What was
Ian's
Ian's
number
number
4 was
4?
every silent protagonist.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Which is why he changed it to protagonist.
That is
for yours,
not why I
so
changed
he
it
could
to
put in
protagonist.
silent protagonist.
That is
Yeah.
not. No,
So,
look. Even if it was
you-
straight up
We're
hero,
back to the
I
fight,
still
baby.
would have
Here we
done
go.
it.
All right, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It happens.
It's still stupid.
It's
What-
on YouTube.
What you did is still stupid.
You can watch the whole argument. The argument lasts about 2 hours. And we didn't come to any consensus whatsoever, even among the heroes we did like. There was still like
It was all over the map.
Yeah, we couldn't pick 5 to
Yeah.
throw up at the end. Villains was much less contentious, weirdly. We were all like, no, that guy
Yeah.
sucks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that tracks.
I think I'm looking at the list again. I don't
Mhm.
really see any repeats across. I don't know if we had any repeats across the games. The closest we had was 2 from the same game, which was Tidus and Orin.
Yeah. Final Fantasy X was well represented.
Mass Effect.
Final
Yeah.
Fantasy in general was well represented. But
You get a lot of games in your franchise. You get a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Shepard.
Shepard.
Shepard was specifically mentioned by 2 people,
Yeah.
Sean and Ian. So
Yeah, well, Shepard is the best protagonist of all time, so
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of argument about Shepard being included on the lists. It was just like Shepard because Shepard.
I'm excited to purchase Mass Effect again this weekend.
Agreed.
So
I only wish it was on Switch. Like, I'll buy it
Yeah.
on PC, but I only wish it was on Switch.
yeah, I'll buy it on PC and then again on Switch because I'm an idiot.
Same.
But
that's how they
it's
get
tomorrow.
you.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
tomorrow. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Available on Audible.com.
I'm like
Use code Shepard at checkout. This audiobook is free.
But yeah.
We need to be sponsored by these people.
Like, one of these days, like, some brand representative from something that we casually mention will be like, yeah, all right. Because that's how sponsorship works.
True.
Speaking as a brand manager, no, it doesn't.
You are a brand manager, you're not the. There are many.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It could work different. Don't take this from us.
Yeah. Do we want to announce what we're doing in 2 weeks?
Yes,
Yeah.
we do. It is directors, right?
It's your show.
No, you don't want to say that, because that's how we get video game protagonists. And we just argue about it for an hour.
Well,
All right.
we
so
all agree on something.
we all
and then
agreed.
Ian changes it last minute and pulls a rug out from under.
We're
Like
going
it.
to start
I
with
said.
video game directors, and then we're going to pick video game sound
Film.
people.
Film
No.
director.
Yeah, no,
Film,
no,
yeah.
in all honesty, we are in 2 weeks on the 27th, next Thursday, or Thursday after next, rather. We are going to be doing each of us, our top 5 film directors. There is, Mick's already got her list, like, ready to go, locked and loaded. She did this time too. But no time limit, no time period. Could go from back to the golden age of cinema to yesterday. And we'll see what we end up.
Ooh, I have to add an honorable mention.
Julius Caesar.
Mega Man 2.
Mega Man 2. I will say this right now. George Lucas will not be on my list.
Well, he's not a very good director, is he?
Exactly.
He's proven that 3
hot take.
specific times.
The original Star Wars trilogy is not a great movies. They're not great movies.
Empire.
They're
Empire.
They're fine.
Empire's good, but George Lucas didn't direct it. Roland Emmerich saved that.
He only directed the 4th one.
Yeah.
Or the first one
The
or
first
4th
one.
one, depending.
Yeah. But in any case, yeah, to see who actually makes the list, come check it out in 2 weeks. It'll be the same crew again. It'll be the 4 of us. So come and join myself, Sean, Brian, and special guest Mick, and we will be back next time. I hope that everybody enjoyed this. Thank you, everybody who hopped in chat and made fun of me and for not knowing that Mother 2
Megan Man.
But yeah, no, honestly, thank you everybody for hopping in chat. That was great. We love seeing people in the chat agreeing and disagreeing with us the whole time. Lots of great comments on Mick's hair, which is correct.
Yeah, my hair is very good these days.
It is.
It is. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah. And yeah, so please come back and do more of that next time. But until then, I do hope that everybody has a nice night and has a nice time. And good night.
Go listen to these on Spotify.
Or Audible.
Esports.
Esports.